Good morning and welcome to Southeastern 16's recaps of basketball action from Thursday night. Big night for the SEC, which went, I believe, unbeaten. Your winners, in order they are listed on ESPN scoreboard: Tennessee over Virginia, South Carolina over Mercer, Texas beats Syracuse, Oklahoma tops East Texas A&M, Ole Miss beats Oral Roberts, and Vanderbilt beats Nevada. We'll get into all those. I'll just start with you, Blake. What was the headliner of the night in your mind?
The headliner of the night in my mind was the people in attendance in the Bahamas who, in the opening game, got to see Baylor and St. John's put up a 99-98 classic. And then, in the second game, they got to watch Tennessee just completely shut down Virginia in a 64-42 not-so-classic. And to me, that was my highlight of the evening. And not only that, hey, here's the thing, right? If you're going to complain about this game, you're in the Bahamas, all right? You're getting all you need from the scene, the atmosphere, the environment. Come on. This is Tennessee basketball, shutting down another opponent. 42 points for the Cavaliers here. Max, yesterday, I got to admit, I lied. I told Willie in the chat, I said Tennessee by 25 or more if they hold down this Virginia offensive team. Turns out I was wrong. It was only 22.
Yep. You were just straight up wrong. So, bad prediction by you. Way off. There's no Tennessee fans in here yet to start jabbing you. They'll get you. They'll get you
Sam?
Eventually. Yeah, where's Sam Smith when you need him?
They're in the Bahamas. They're still
They're
awake.
in the Bahamas.
What are you talking about? They ain't
Wake
gone to
up,
sleep
Sam.
yet.
No, I mean, perfect performance. We had no Cam Carr, so that's a factor. He would have added a little spark off the bench. And then Estrella, nothing from him either. So we did get our first look at D Stone. Welcome back. Glad to see D Stone in there. I'm not sure what exactly it was that was keeping him out, but I'm just happy to see him on the court. Provides a little boost. 10 minutes, goes 2 for 2. Missed his only 3, but got in there. Got his hands dirty. And now look ahead to tonight. Oh boy. Got a big one with the Baylor Bears.
What's the bigger accomplishment? Chaz Lanier scoring 26 points against Virginia or getting off 23 shots against Virginia?
Well, weren't those all like second half? Weren't a lot of those second half?
A lot of them were.
He went on a tear.
But yeah. I mean, I'm kind of having some fun here. But I mean but it was hard for either team to get off a shot last night, especially Virginia. I don't know how you watch that offense night in and night out if you're a Virginia fan, unless you're just really good.
Well, I do. If you win a national championship, like you'll be all right with taking it a little bit. But
like I said, unless you're really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think long term that probably, if they ever do make a change or something there. Yeah. It's just a bad matchup for Virginia. Let's call it what it is. Like offensively, you are what you are, and now you got to play one of the best defensive teams in the country. So it was a terrible matchup for Virginia. What was the spread on this one, Max? I don't even remember.
12.
Yeah, I don't know why none of us just ran to the pay counter there and just put all our money in on Tennessee minus 12, because this was just an absolutely brutal matchup for Virginia in every way. Like, knowing how Tennessee defends, knowing that Virginia offensively is just, they're not great right now, and also knowing that Tennessee, while we have concerns sometimes about them offensively, a Chaz Lanier game, the Igor revenge game, like all of these things in play. So, yeah, I mean, this was exactly what we wanted to see if you're a Tennessee fan. Pure domination in the second half, and then now you get a chance to really help us out because now we get to play the score comparison game again, which we love to do here. So, that's going to be fantastic. Now we can compare what Tennessee does against Baylor since Baylor's already played Arkansas. So the score comparison game continues at Southeastern 16. So there we go.
We remind you, our channel brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup, breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. You got NHL, NBA, college basketball, college football, all those things. When the game's over, head on to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or run line with one of over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. I mean, look, that was not a pretty first half. Tennessee led by 1 at half. Rick Barnes was very unhappy. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see his halftime talk to the courtside reporter, but he was clearly not pleased. But they looked a lot different the second half, came out with a little bit of energy and put that one to bed, at least midway through the half, I guess.
Yeah, and Milicic has been fantastic. 6 offensive rebounds. You like to see that. But I don't know how I really want to quantify it or what I'm trying to get at. But last year when it was like, if Dalton Connect wasn't on the floor, the offense was just lost. It was like, oh no, what do we do now? Like, where do we go? But since this team doesn't have that, I mean, Lanier's been fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, but he's not that he's not Dalton Connect. It's just a little bit different style of play. And so Tennessee, they don't have that much of a drop off. Like, they can go big with Milicic and Akpara and Meshack at the 3, and they don't have a ton of shooting, and they can just suffocate you. Or they were going small too with Ziegler, Lanier, Meshack, Gainey, and then just Akpara as the only forward. And they're versatile. They can match up with anyone. They keep growing on me. Tennessee is skyrocketing up the Max Barr rankings.
All right. Well, I don't want to spend another second talking about this Tennessee-Virginia game. Let's talk about Tennessee and Baylor because that's a way more exciting matchup than this was. I mean, look, Baylor, we talked about them against Arkansas. They lost that game against the Zags to start the season. We knew that wasn't the real Baylor team. Just a bad, sequence of things. They can just take a game in the wrong direction. That's what happened on opening night. But they got the win against Arkansas. Now they get a double overtime win, which, again, Tennessee fans thrilled. A double overtime game for your opponents the day before. Baylor's going to come in. I mean, they're 7-8 deep, pretty much. So again, this isn't. Come on, we've all seen the AAU circuit. Guys playing 14 games a day. I'm not worried about the tired legs thing necessarily here, but with the way Tennessee plays, the physicality of this game, these are two physical teams. Always been known for that under these two coaches. So I think the physicality is going to be interesting here. And look, Baylor's coming off a game where they were not missing a shot from outside. 15 of 29 from 3. That would be trouble for the Vols if Baylor shoots it like that again. I don't think they will, given the perimeter defense for the Vols. But to me, Max, that's what this comes down to. Obviously, again, you know what to expect with a very, very talented Baylor team here. This is a great test for Tennessee because I think there are definitely some things that Baylor can do offensively that can challenge Tennessee's defense. But at the same time, if you're Tennessee, you're going to rely on your guard play, and you also need those big games, especially out of your big guys in this one, just given, kind of what Baylor's going to be able to do here when it comes to the offensive rebounding and those kind of things.
Yeah, we really like to identify certain spots when kind of, you throw out the matchup and you're like, this team is just, sitting here in a spot waiting to bounce back or something like that. The one spot that I firmly disagree with is the tired legs spot. It's not a thing. If there's anything that NC State taught us last year from that run, there's no such thing as a tired legs the next day. The guys know how to eat breakfast and drink Gatorade. They're going to be the tired legs thing's not a thing. So don't throw that out. Talking about the matchup, this is going to be Akpara's first game this year where he's he's banging with another, D lineman down there, Norchad Omier. Virginia doesn't really have a ton of size down low. I mean, they're stingy, but not a ton of size. Louisville, same thing, a little bit more of a hybrid team. I guess you have Kashawn Pryor there at 6'10". He's a little bit of a finesse guy. Omier's going to be doing the Oklahoma drill down low with Akpara all game. So I'll be interested to see how Tennessee does.
Hey, you're probably right. Yeah.
With the size. So yeah, basically what I'm looking for is that matchup, Akpara against Omier.
Next up, Lake Lovell.
Well, I just wanted to quickly add on, since this is, kind of the marquee game. Tennessee is favored by 5 points in this one at Bet Online right now.
It's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points. I was not expecting to be -5. I was expecting more of a 1-2, probably one way or the other. I will say I'm a little surprised, but maybe Vegas Max is betting in on the tired legs theory of Baylor. But I think this is a tough game for Tennessee. But again, you never know. Like a team comes off a game like that, not even just the overtime aspect, but what a wild finish. You're at the highest of highs, and now you play a team that just can absolutely grind you out. And so I can't say I'm shocked by Tennessee being the favorite here. Maybe a little surprised that it's up to that number, but I would pick Tennessee to win this game. I think that they need Ziegler to shoot a little bit better, but also, like we said, it's just facilitating. And if Chaz Lanier, the confidence is high, he's feeling good in the Bahamas right now. If he can keep that going, they're in good shape. So, all right. Okay, we are kind of on a little bit of a time crunch today, so we're going to quickly move through some of the other stuff. Texas gets a big win over Syracuse, Max. I thought Eddie Lampkin was about to take over there for a second, and he kind of did and helped Syracuse spark a run there, but the Longhorns managed to hold on and get the victory. 70-66 wasn't the prettiest at times after Syracuse regained the lead, but I think that also said something about Texas, that they were able to they squandered the lead, and then just when things can completely turn the other way, you're up 16, all of a sudden you're down by a point with 3 minutes to go, they find a way to pull out the win. That's exactly what we want to see, I think, from Texas. Tremont Mark makes his debut. Only played 19 minutes, but I think as he gets more involved again, you just know what he can be. He gave them 2 threes here. They only hit 4 as a team. So I think he's going to add that for them. But I thought this wound up being a good win for Texas, just based on how the game played out. Started strong, had a dip, found a way to win, survive and advance this time of year, heading into a matchup with the Hawks of St. Joseph's today.
How fun is Eddie Lampkin? I mean, Eddie Lampkin is just appointment television. I love watching that guy play. Syracuse can't shoot to save their lives. They might be one of the worst three-point shooting teams in Power 5 in the nation. Texas, like you said, great to pull out a win, but it just looked so choppy. It was for almost the whole second half. It was kind of like, Trey Johnson, here's the ball, do something, get a shot up, hopefully it goes in. Or Kaluma, here's the ball with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, go try to get something up. They weren't running anything. It was real choppy. You didn't have Jason Kent, who might be a little bit of an offensive spark, but for how Syracuse have been playing, I mean, this is a team that just went to double OT with Youngstown State at home. I mean, they're not that good. Texas was 11, 12 point favorite. Get the win, get some things exposed, but it was not very pretty to watch. I will say that.
I didn't get to see it. I think anytime you go, Trey Johnson goes 4 of 18, and they win anyway. You'll take it. I guess the thing that stood out, as Blake mentioned, Mark made his debut. I guess Julian Larry, the guy that gets his minutes cut in that scenario, because he played a season low. Not that he had a tremendous game anyway, but that's about all I took away from that one.
Yeah, I mean, they should beat St. Joseph's tonight. I mean, they're an 8.5 point favorite, Texas is. So
Joe's just beat Tech, though.
I was going
Well,
to say they're decent, aren't they? Yeah.
I mean, they've beaten Tech, they've beaten Villanova. So I mean, yeah, I don't love the 8.5. I wouldn't be all over that, but yeah, still though, I think Texas is the better team. And I think this will be interesting for me to see if Mark,
Yep.
to get 25 minutes in this game, something like that. Like, how does his minutes continue to go up? And Trey Johnson isn't going to have those kind of games very often. So if he comes back with a vengeance here, it may be trouble for the Hawks. But we'll see. I like Texas in that matchup. All right, let's talk about Vanderbilt, Nevada. The Commodores, 73, Nevada 71. Yeah, I mean, what do you say? This was one where it also got a little tricky there for a minute. Where you're wondering if they're about to blow the lead, but didn't happen. And here they are at 5-0. The Commodores. If you want to read into Ken Palm, they're 5-0 and still considered the worst team in the SEC, which I just don't think that's the case. But we always talk about Ken Palm this early in the year. You got to wait to let games play out, and now they're starting to play out. And so they get the win here in Charleston. And, again, I mean, Nevada got off to a great start. I mean, I'm like, uh-oh, this could be trouble. But Commodores turned it around. Another team that held a double-digit lead, and kind of you're looking up and thinking, oh, boy, what's going to happen here? But that's okay. Like, it all worked out for the Commodores. They win the game, and don't worry, Max. I like to hedge my bets here. I told you guys about an hour before the game started.
You called it.
Got my money line bet in on Vanderbilt, and cash it in.
Yeah, they were up by 12.
Yeah.
With under 10 minutes. Chris?
Yeah.
What did you see from your Commodores?
Well, hard to give up 54% on field goals and win, but they did. I thought the difference was, and I only got to see the second half. I had a funeral visitation to go to, but I thought their guards really kind of took that game over and dictated the tempo early. There were some weird calls late in the game and that kind of thing, but I thought that Hogard was probably their standout last night. Hit probably their biggest field goal of the game, about a minute and change left. He drives, banks in a layup, hit a couple free throws. Edwards was pretty good for them. I mean, we say this a lot. They got three guys at last year, because I think James, I don't know if Edwards was running the point at North Texas. I think he was, but three guys that were playing full-time point guard roles on their teams a year ago, and Hogard, Edwards, and Huffman, who was at Davidson, and played a lot, by the way. And then they had Tyler Tanner, who's another point guard. It's just a really interesting combo, and I thought those were the guys that really led the way from them last night. Like defensively, we said along, we don't know what they're going to be, but they force a ton of turnovers. And speaking of that, they're now number one in the country at not turning it over, which is a thing you like. And they're not shooting the ball well yet. So I think there's still some questions about them, but I think there's still some meat on the bone out there for Vandy that haven't jumped up and gotten yet, and they're still 5-0, and that was a nice win last night for them.
Yeah, the number one in the country right now, and protecting the ball offensively is crazy. But that just goes to show how good the ball handling is right now. Guys, the Charleston Classic right now, it's Vanderbilt against Seton Hall. Vanderbilt, I think, is -4.5, I believe, a -4.5 point favorite. And then the other semifinal is FAU against Drake. Guys, I don't want to jinx anything, but Vandy's got a real shot at winning this Charleston Classic tournament and coming out of here 7-0.
They've got a shot to go unbeaten in the conference play. I mean, they really do.
They do, and that's not a stretch at all. If they win this, if they beat Seton Hall and then FAU/Drake, the only other top 100 team they play is TCU.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that could be a good thing and a bad thing.
Right.
They could go undefeated without a single quality win, and I think that's where you're rooting for Nevada to have a good season, which I think they're going to. Like, even though they lose this game, I think that's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Seton Hall, if there's one thing that's going to be tested in this game tonight, Seton Hall is the first team they play that actually, seems to know how to force turnovers on defense. So they're one of the top 20 teams in the country at that, which they just, they play the Shaheen Holloway style. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to force a lot of turnovers against most teams. So we'll see how Vanderbilt handles the ball tonight. I think that's a big key in that game. But yeah, like I'm curious just to see. For Vanderbilt, the thing is, like, we can say, well, they're not going to have many quality wins or whatever, but who cares? They just need to win games as a program. Yeah. Like, it's just winning right now.
Yep.
It's kind of reinvigorating things. So, sure, we can look at that side of things and say, you know what? Hey, great. If they go 12-0, maybe they're this year's Ole Miss, right? Who won a lot of games last year that didn't wind up meaning a whole lot in non-conference play. But it's a different situation where this program will take anything based on kind of the way things were for a while there. And so, yeah, that's a big win because, like you said, now the path opens up for them to win this thing. But, won't be easy against Seton Hall because, again, I think they're going to do some things defensively that'll make it tough in a game like this. But Seton Hall, I think, is just not – I don't know. I mean,
they're a bit down.
Look at Seton Hall's offensive numbers,
Ugly.
folks. Like 57-53, 57-56, 49-48, 54-28, an actual score that happened, 69-66 that went to overtime. So pretty much every game they played non-overtime is going in the 50s. So take the under tonight. I don't know what it is, but take it because I could definitely see that being the case for this one.
Well, one more thing. We said there were two things that were problematic for Vanderbilt in that game. One was tempo. Nevada likes to slow it. And the other one was height. Considerably bigger team than Vanderbilt. So they survived that. Now, I think they will grind you, will Seton Hall, but Vanderbilt's just not a team that turns it over. And, again, I think offensively they're nowhere close to their ceiling yet in terms of shooting, but I like their parts there more than Seton Hall. I mean, I'd be surprised if Vanderbilt doesn't win this one today. I don't know if going away, but decisively.
I would not underestimate Seton Hall defensively, though. As bad as they are offensively, I think they're really, really good defensively. And so because it will be a grind, I actually may be a little surprised if Vanderbilt won this thing going away. Because I feel like this is going to be one of those ugly, neutral court, second game of the tournament type games. But Vanderbilt, if they can get the tempo going, Seton Hall's in trouble. But I wonder defensively, though, what this thing looks like. We'll see. That number being at 4.5 is interesting to me because I think that's another one that I wondered if it would be a little bit lower, but I don't know how good Seton Hall is. I just think offensively there's just so much to scratch your head about. So, yeah.
You got to remember last night they won that game with really nothing offensively from Tyler Nickel. I mean, he's not going to go – that was his first game of the season without a three. I guarantee you he hits one or two today. So just a little note, if you told me yesterday Tyler Nickel's only going to have 4 points and he won't hit a three, I'm probably not beating Nevada, but they did.
All right.
Yeah, they've only had one game where they've really shot the ball well so far. So –
all right, Max, quick thoughts on everything else. South Carolina beats Mercer 84-72. Oklahoma beats East Texas A&M / Texas A&M Commerce / whatever their name will be next week, 84-56. And then Ole Miss scores 100 against Oral Roberts, which I think is notable just because that game was like 50-40 at halftime. And Oral Roberts' defense not seeming to be great, but Ole Miss's defense really stepped up in the second half. And so any quick thoughts before we quickly move to Friday games?
Not a ton, honestly. I watched that South Carolina game. I was on the -18. They don't have it defensively right now. I mean, Mercer just was really running whatever they wanted offensively. South Carolina's got some work to do. And then Ole Miss, they're into my fun tier teams with Mississippi State and a few other teams. But Ole Miss, the defense is getting a little bit up in the air. Not sure. The rebounding, still a little bit up in the air. The offense, though, super fun. And you didn't have Dre Davis. So Ole Miss got some things to work on, but man, they are fun to watch. I'll tell you that.
Well, keep in mind, too, they're another team that, just quickly, like they're another team that the non-conference schedule, we mentioned last year kind of what it was when they went,
Yep.
What were they unbeaten last year, right? But, they got this game coming up next week against BYU. Like they got a road game against Lovell, road game against Memphis. So they've got more tests this year, and I think that will serve them well because, how much do you learn from games like this? I don't know. But when you start to play the games they're going to play next week, right, starting in San Diego where they play BYU and then whoever else after that, I think that's good. Like this team needs some of these kind of games because you can tell they're still working through some things. But, like we're going to learn a lot more about them in these kind of matchups. So,
it's kind of a weird thing. Like if you'd gone back a year and a half ago and said this is what it's going to look like for Chris Beard at Ole Miss, I would have been a little skeptical. It's like they're always a defense-first team, and it feels like that's where they've struggled since he's been there. But like I was thinking, is there a team in the league that's got more guys that can give you 15 on a given night than Ole Miss? I mean, maybe Kentucky right now. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I'm not even sure I'd go there. They've just got a lot of guys who can score, and they're super deep. It's been interesting. This is not what I would have predicted when he took the job. Not that it's bad. It's like you said, Max. It's fun to watch, but it's just not what I expected.
I think a lot of it is the charge call getting changed. Ever since that, Beard's defense, from 2018 to 2022, 5-6 year span, 5-year span, he was top 20 every year in defense, just consistently top 20. You weren't scoring on him. Since that charge call got changed, 141st and 79th. It's just complete. It's changed the defense for him.
Here's what I want to ask you guys. Like right now, if you had for your life, you're coaching Ole Miss, you got to get one guy to get a bucket right now. Who is it?
Padula, probably.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, it could be Morrell too, but I think it's an interesting question because they've got so many guys who played so much ball and are scoring a ton of points right now.
Well, I mean, we say it's been pretty, but or it's so fun to watch. Like, it wasn't fun to watch a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was fun to watch last night and the
past 2 games
Saturday, but it hadn't been fun to watch all season. Like they beat Grambling 66-64, they beat South Alabama 64-54. I think that's my thing is the consistency. And I don't remember, Chris may have brought it up. I don't remember who said it, but I think maybe I was talking to Sam Snelling over at Rockham Nation, but I don't want to attribute it to anyone. I don't want to put this on them, but I mean, Ole Miss is a team that, yes, they got a lot of great parts, but even the guys who have been there, right, outside of that great stretch to open up last season, they haven't had a lot of winning seasons. Like, they haven't been a part of teams that have won a lot of games. So we can say this and that, but I think you want to just, and that's why I think winning these games is important. But I don't know. I want to see next week. Check back in on Ole Miss next week because I think that's where we really start learning a lot about this team. Because I just think it's been a little hit or miss at times so far. And once you start playing better teams, you get a better grasp on what they can be. So
real quick rebuttal. I don't disagree with a lot of that. I think those are fair points. I kind of give them a pass on South Alabama because Morrell was out that game and Dre Davis, I think, sprained an ankle second half. So anybody can and give them one more. The Grambling game was a little bit of a clunker. I know that's 2 I've given them a pass on, but I think one of them, there were some reasons there. But anyway, I do think what you say is worth watching too. They've got to. I mean, at some point they got to step up and start beating some real teams. But that opportunity will come in time.
All right. We're going to go speed lightning round here. We've already talked about Tennessee Baylor. We kind of mentioned Texas St. Joe's. We mentioned
we got one. We got one.
Boom! Wait, what?
Boom.
What's
the Bulldogs, baby.
All right.
Yeah.
We're not going to spend 30 minutes on Mississippi State and SMU here, but here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to do rapid fire because I got to be off here in about 5 minutes. So, quickly, Max, thoughts on Mississippi State SMU, which we've already discussed this game. I don't remember yesterday or the day before, but anything additional we want to add on what's going to go down at the Moody Coliseum in Dallas, Texas?
Tune into this one. SMU absolutely flies. I mean, they fly. They want nothing to do with a snail's pace. Complete opposite. They want to get out and fly. Mississippi State, new look perimeter offense. This one's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it. I don't really know who's going to win. I think the spread's a 1-point spread. I'm really interested, but this one is going to be fun.
That's Andy Enfield's team, by the way.
Yep.
All right. I got Mississippi State in this one. SEC's not losing these games right now. Keep the streak going. Don't be the team that drops it. The SEC is on fire right now in non-conference play. So don't be the team, Mississippi State. Carlos, get them ready. They got to be ready for this one.
Yep.
So, all right, can't drop this game. LSU and Pitt, they're going to tip off in 30 seconds here. I'm just kidding. They tip off at 1:30 Central. Early game. You got day basketball today, including Vanderbilt and Seton Hall, who tips off at 4. LSU Pitt, tough one for the Tigers, it seems, Max.
If LSU really keeps this thing close, even maybe pulls out a win, I will be very impressed. This is a test. This is a test for sure. If you don't know the Diaz-Graham brothers from Pittsburgh, they're like 2.74 spiders with arms coming out every which way. It's going to be tough. They're not going to get much inside. It's going to be really hard to score at the rim. So LSU is going to have to shoot the ball, something that they have not done so far this year. Big test for LSU. I think Pitt's really good.
Was Pitt ranked in anybody's preseason top 25?
I'm not sure.
I mean, they should have been.
But they are not.
14 in KenPom today. By the way, the only matchup of unbeatens today involving SEC teams. So that's one to watch.
Well, keep in mind, Pitt's 14th in KenPom, and they've literally not beaten anyone. So
yeah.
I think that kind of, I mean, they're good. Like, so they should have been if they weren't. I don't remember, but yeah, it's a tough game for LSU. But we said the same thing. LSU, Kansas State. I think Pitt's a little bit better than Kansas State. So tough task for the Tigers, but don't count them out anymore. Don't count them out. Don't be us. Don't count out the LSU Tigers. Don't be Southeastern 16. All right.
I have a quick question for you guys on this one. We know Cam Carter's their dude, but we've seen some of their bit guys. We've seen Victorious Miller step up and have a couple of big games lately. We've seen Sears take on a bigger role. Like, to me, this is kind of interesting in seeing, like, where do their supporting parts start to sort out in order of these are the guys we're really going to count on, because this looked different night to night with LSU.
Now, this is the Victorious Miller game. Period. Like, there's no question anymore. He is one of the dudes. So,
no love for Corey Chest?
Well,
come on.
You're a big fan of the chest, but I mean, I think that Victorious Miller is my pick here, and I think he can have a big game. Corey Chest as well, perhaps, but maybe Jordan Sears. See what we're doing here? They got a lot of options.
They do.
Like, you don't just need one guy to step up. They've been pretty good so far at all these different guys kind of bouncing around and having some big games. So Pitt's a good team, and I think that's the biggest. It's not about LSU to me. Like, Pitt's just really, really good. Like, and I think this is a big challenge for LSU. But if they play the way they played so far, you know, they've already gone on the road, won a road game. That's good for their confidence.
Yeah.
Now they head to White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, at the Greenbrier Colonial Hall for a showdown with the Panthers of Pitt.
Do we know what this is yet? I mean, what is in Greenbrier? Is this like a ski resort town, or what is it?
I don't know.
Who knows?
So, hey, hold on a second. Carlos, I'm going to need you to calm down for a second, okay?
Get him!
Carlos says the kiss of death from Blake just because he doesn't want to talk about Mississippi State for 40 minutes like he does Kentucky. You're not wrong, but come on, man. I'm trying to give your team some props, trying to get you to get your team ready for the biggest game of the season so far against the Mustangs of SMU. Come on, man. Come on.
Are we going to be during the game? Are we going to be back here?
I don't know what's going on tonight. Our plan is to do something tonight. I can't tell you exactly what time, but we will probably be doing something. Yeah, if we are going to do something tonight, it'll probably be while that game's still going on.
I was just going to say, Carlos, if you want to come in and give him a piece of your mind.
I'm here standing by. I know Blake's got a
Well, we sure
Blake's got
we
a
sure aren't
whack-a-mole of a
waiting.
life right now.
We sure aren't waiting until Tennessee Baylor's over. I'll tell you that right now, because they're not going to start till 9:30 tonight.
Max and I could just sit here and talk all night, couldn't we, Max?
I think you're really underestimating. Hold on a second, Chris. I think you're overestimating Max Barr's sleep schedule.
Oh, that's right.
I think you think Max stays up till 2 in the morning. He doesn't. Okay, so Tennessee Baylor, we may have to kind of we may do something quick tomorrow morning, Max, on that one, but we're definitely not going to be starting after that, which will not be finished until probably midnight. So we'll get back to you, but just know we're probably going to do something tonight at some point tonight. There's the specifics you need. All right, elsewhere on the schedule. Quickly, we got 2 minutes. Kentucky's going to host Jackson State.
Oh, there you go.
Wait, hold on. What do you say, Max?
State? I was just going to say
Okay.
Arkansas's got a nice little game coming up, but you can talk Kentucky first.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to talk Kentucky at all. We're just going to run through the schedule. I don't have 40 minutes to talk about Kentucky like I want to, but they are a 34.5-point favorite home against Jackson State. Florida hosts Southern Illinois. That one may be more interesting than you think.
Yeah.
Missouri hosts Pacific. Guarantee you that won't be more interesting than you think, just because it's just the way it works, seemingly. But I think Missouri should win, but we'll see. What else we got? Arkansas plays Little Rock, and that's the only games we haven't mentioned. So quickly, Max, take it whatever direction you want. We're not going to be able to talk about all these, but what do we got?
Little Rock might pose a bit of a problem for Arkansas just because stylistically, Little Rock's defense just gives you the 3. That's what they take away everything else. They pack it in. They have a fantastic block rate, really tough around the rim. They'll give you the 3. They'll let you shoot away a million times if you want. That is not good for the way that Arkansas likes to play. So I think just stylistically, if Arkansas comes out and misses a few shots and the 3 isn't falling, it could get scary. Just saying.
Chris, any wisdom on the rest of these games?
Minor footnote here. Jackson State is coached by prominent former SEC player. I bet Blake knows who it is.
Oh, he doesn't?
I haven't kept up with anything. I know
Mo
they
Williams.
lost to Vanderbilt. That's all I know. So, all right.
Mo Williams played at Alabama, played in NBA 13 years. So there's no
all right.
contribution.
Well,
to the
hopefully he can play, because they're going to need him to play if they're going to beat Kentucky. So
he cannot play.
He's suiting up tonight.
In trouble, I think.
Even today's NCAA eligibility requirements do not allow that.
Well, then I got Kentucky in this one. So could be trouble. Remember, Jackson State did beat Missouri on the road last year.
That's true.
Just keep that in mind. But they also have lost to Vanderbilt by 13, which if you do the math, we'll start playing that game after this. So, all right, that's it. We're done here. We'll talk more about these games later.
Thanks for watching. We will be back live some point tonight. Yeah. If you want to know when, we don't know when, but I'll tell you how you can know when. Hit the subscribe button if you have not. Enable your notifications. Then when we do go live, you'll get a little notification that says, these guys are going live. And then you can join in as we dissect whatever happens today. We got football coming up tomorrow. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Thank you for watching. For Max Barr and Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by Bet Online.